Today, we are ranking every number one prospect in Major League Baseball, according to MLB Pipeline, since 2010. We're going to be looking at their career as a whole, looking at what they were like as a prospect, going through it, giving you our guys' opinions. So, before we do, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss out on the baseball content over here. And don't forget, at 10,000 subscribers, giving away a signed MLB jersey to one of you guys at home. So, make sure you are subbed. Without further ado, James, let's get this list going. It's kind of funny to look back and see some of the former top prospects because while they smashed on some, oh boy, did they miss on others.
Yeah, it's nice to go back and see the process and how prospects were evaluated differently, like through the era. I was going to say eras, but it's not really eras because only 15 years here, but 16 years. It's good to watch. I do think there's a very clear consensus worst number one overall prospect though since 2010. It feels very obvious to me. Sadly, it's because of all the off the field stuff. There's a deplorable human, a vile person. Juan DeFranco, just get him out of here.
Yeah, we're going to be in agreement on that. Wander Franco comes in as our lowest ranked number one prospect. We're not going to say what he did because we're not going to talk about it on YouTube, but you guys know, and he is a bad man. Doesn't really matter what he did on the field, doesn't matter of any of that stuff. Off the field, he is a piece of human garbage, and I hope he rots in jail. So, moving on to number 13, James. 13th best number one prospect since 2010. Who do you got?
I put Jurickson Profar here just because
Ooh.
one, it's kind of funny looking back that Jurickson Profar was ever such a highly acclaimed prospect, being number one overall prospect 2013, because never was really going to be a power hitter. It didn't really ever seem like he was going to have that elite shortstop defense. And it's kind of cool looking back that he did carve out a really good career for himself after the injuries and after flopping as number one overall prospect. But I do think he lost all of that goodwill with the PED suspension last year. So that was kind of a big reason why I made him my second worst number one overall prospect.
That's fair. I had him a little bit higher, but he is also towards the bottom of my list. I had Jurickson Profar at number 11. We'll talk about him a little bit more then. I had Jackson Holliday at number 13. It
Ooh.
is aggressive. It is probably unfair to him because he's had 2 seasons, but so far in those 2 seasons, I've been thoroughly unimpressed by Jackson Holliday. And this is someone that I loved coming out of the draft. I got the hype. I understood it. I bought into it. His last his senior year in high school, he was phenomenal. The strides that he made, he raked in the minors. And then he got to the major league level. And of course, it is much harder. And he is still so young. This is not me saying that I don't think Jackson Holliday has a future ahead of him. It's just right now, based on what we've seen, I think the ceiling on a guy like Jackson Holliday has come down quite a bit, where you thought maybe he could be a franchise middle infielder, where now he kind of hits towards the bottom of the order on the Orioles, who weren't a very good team last year.
Yeah, it's funny. I had him as actually my number 11, so that was a clean swap for us. I'm curious now if our number 12s are the same.
It's gotta be. It's Matt Moore, right?
No, okay, absolutely not.
Whoa. Did you go Benintendi?
Mine's Benintendi here. Benintendi for me is the third worst number one overall prospect.
See, here's why I went Matt Moore over Benintendi. I had Benintendi at number 10. He cracked my top 10 here of the last, 15 years. But for me, Andrew Benintendi had seasons at the start of his career where he was really good. Like, he was a great outfielder. He put up OPS pluses in like the 120s a couple different times. He played good defense out in the outfield. He was stealing 20 bags a year. He was a big part of those Red Sox teams for the later 2010s. And while they weren't incredible seasons by any means, still finished second in rookie of the year, still put up some good numbers. You're shaking your head. You're disrespecting early or late 2010s Andrew Benintendi.
No, you're deeply overrating late 2010s Andrew
Why?
Benintendi. Andrew
Matt
Benintendi
Moore
had
sucks. He's never been good.
Andrew Benintendi had 1 2-win season when he was a member of the Red Sox.
Not according to Baseball Reference.
I'm a Fangraphs man.
There you go.
Andrew Benintendi was kind of, when you look back, this is like, what were people thinking making him number one overall prospect?
I think that's fair. We can both agree that he should have never been the number one overall prospect, but you're looking at a guy who, up until he came to the White Sox, he was what? Let's see, for his career. His OPS plus sits at a career like 109. That's pretty comparable, if not better than what Matt Moore did for his career.
Well, I gave Matt Moore a lot of credit because until the injuries happened, he was a good pitcher.
But he had them.
No, for sure. But I think I did a little bit
And
more
then he
of this
became a
ranking of
reliever.
prospects. Yeah, 100%. With Matt Moore, I don't think you remember how good Matt Moore was his first few years when he came up. Matt Moore got Cy Young votes his second full season
Yeah,
in
I
Major Leagues.
understand.
Matt Moore came up. He had that crazy 11 strikeout game to get his first win at Yankee Stadium when the Rays were tooth and nail fighting with the Red Sox
He had
to be a
300 good
playoff
innings.
team. Yeah, 100%. And then which is funny enough, at the time, he signed the biggest extension ever for a pitcher with fewer than 2 years of MLB service at 5 years and $14 million. It's very funny to think about that.
The Rays are they got to stop signing guys to extensions early.
But Matt Moore had 2 seasons, his first 2 full seasons, when he was still 23 and 24 years old, 3.5 ERA over 330 innings. He has an all-star season. He had a top 10 Cy Young finish. A botched Tommy John surgery in 2014 ruined the guy's career. And
That's what it
he
was,
wa-
though.
he was a lefty that was sitting 95 with a disgusting curveball. Like, it would have been a very fine career. I think I give Matt Moore a little bit of credit based on the projection and the situation, where Andrew Benintendi has been aggressively mid forever. Andrew Benintendi
Had a couple good seasons.
He had one really good season.
Like Matt Moore was objectively mid in those seasons, by the way. He was walking a ton of guys.
Yeah,
his whip was high. He was not. Listen, I like that we're having an argument here because I'm going to stand on Benintendi. When he was with the Sox, he was a dog.
He wasn't a dog. He was just kind of like a handsome white dude with good hair. Like, that was kind of it. There were just memes. This was the same time.
360 on base.
This was that happened. One and the 350 at 3. Yeah, he had a couple good on base seasons in there, but he was never
Just
really like a
casually
good,
forgetting
notable, valuable player. Like Benintendi, when you look back, is like, why was this guy ever even close to number 1 overall prospect? He's a hit first, 5'10" corner outfielder. Like,
He played good outfield at the start.
He's never hit the ball 110 miles an hour. His career high in home runs is 20. He's done that exactly 3 times. He had an 800 OPS one time in his career, and you're telling me that this is like some kind of valuable player early on?
Matt Moore had the lowest ERA he ever had in his career as a starter was what, 3.6?
He had 3.5 over 2 complete seasons those first 2 years. But that was it. I understand that was the end of Matt Moore, but
that's why I'm like, he did nothing after that. He had year after year after year up until they really moved him full time to reliever that one season with Texas, where he was a negative player. He was unpitchable.
That's just because the doctor had a shaky wrist and ruined his elbow. What can we say about that?
I feel so bad for Matt Moore, but that's on the rankings. I think you're being a little bit of a, what's the right word? A sympathizer.
Yeah, I think so, because I'm giving up a little bit of projection where Andrew Benintendi, nothing ever went wrong. All the guy had was opportunities, and all the guy's ever been was completely mid. Truthfully, one of the worst number 1 prospects we've ever seen.
I think you're just jealous because he's got better hair than you.
That might not be true. It's 50-50 there.
All right.
I mean, 800 OPS one time. Also, you were very mean to Jackson Holliday, too. I gave Jackson Holliday this spot in between Matt Moore and Andrew Benintendi.
11?
Yeah, number 11. But also, like, his hardest hit ball that was tracked in the minor leagues was 108 miles per hour. We should have been well past the idea of making a number 1 overall prospect someone with below league average power at this point. Like, it feels like, and the defense has been bad. Like, what does Jackson Holliday have to hang his hat on?
It feels like we did the Gavin Lux thing again. It kind of feels like it. Gavin Lux never hit a ball hard, became a top prospect, and then you were like, wait, why aren't you hitting that well at the major league level? Because you don't do it consistently.
That was never Jackson Holliday was considered, kind of like you alluded to, like this can't-miss franchise cornerstone superstar. There were rumors in the trade deadline 3 years ago that he could have been floated as a 1-to-1 trade for Tarek Skubal. Like, could you imagine that? Like, looking back, if you're the Orioles, we don't know if that was ever true.
Punch in the air.
The minor league results for Jackson Holliday were still great, and I'm sure the last name kind of helped him a lot. But it's just I don't see anything possible that can lead to superstar upside at this point.
In the current form that he is. Like, maybe he'll make some changes. I don't know what those changes are going to be besides hit the ball harder and become a better hitter. But right now, like I said, I think the ceiling is just so much lower on Jackson Holliday than it once was, which is why it's interesting that, like, I went a little hard on him. So why did I go hard on him then?
Yeah, no, I guess. Who knows? But I think he's looking back now, we're going to be like, Jackson, he could even get lower on this list over the next 5 years, right?
Or he could get higher.
He could know the story of the right. He still was only 21 years old this past season, his first full season.
Okay. You have to pick who's going to have a better career by the end of their career. And that's not the point of this video, but I just want to know Jackson Holliday or Andrew Benintendi.
I think I'd go Jackson Holliday.
Okay, all right, you stand by it.
Yeah, I'll see that one get through. I mean, who knows? Maybe not. I mean, Andrew Benintendi, he debuted. His first full season was also at 22, which was one of the best seasons of his career with a beautiful, pristine 1.9 F4, the third highest Andrew Benintendi ever did over there.
My king.
Mid.
All right, next up, number 9, we're cracked, right? We did the top 14 through 10?
Yeah, we did. The Matt Moore argument.
Yes, number 9, I went with Jason Heyward, number 1 prospect in 2010.
Okay, see, I had Jason Heyward very close to here, but this one I did Connor Griffin, just for the fact that it could be really great, but he hasn't debuted yet, so it's really hard to know. And Jason Heyward, sneaky, the career wasn't that bad.
I mean, he was a glove merchant. Like, it's kind of like Alex Gordon-esque, where you're like, the bat was like never really anything to write home. That was better than Alex Gordon's peaks ever were at the plate. But he also had some crazy lows, Jason Heyward, and he's only 36, and nobody wants him playing on their team.
his career was over at 34 years old, which is crazy. But he had basically the same exact career OPS as Andrew Benintendi, while being a much better
Let's
defensive
go.
player
Well,
than
I
Andrew
had him. I
Benintendi
had
ever
him one spot
was.
ahead.
There you go. But also Jason Heyward, I think it's funny to forget how hyped that rookie year Jason Heyward was.
Yes.
Fourth highest OPS ever for a qualified player 20 or younger, ever, history of baseball. And like, again, 750 career OPS, like 250, 330, 410 career triple slash, 6 seasons of at least a 119 WRC plus, where Andrew Benintendi had three of them. So
I
Jason
put
Heyward
Jason
doubled that
Heyward
up.
ahead of Benintendi.
Benintendi sucks, but I think that's it's easy to forget. I think there's a big gap here between these guys, and then once we get to the guys at the top, but Jason Heyward, sneaky okay career.
So I'm going to do something that's probably going to piss people off. I put Connor Griffin at number 7, and it's just
Ooh.
because prospect wise, I'm like, this dude is so ridiculously good. He hits the ball hard. He runs fast. He has a cannon of an arm. He's athletic. He plays the outfield. He can play shortstop. He's like a complete 5-tool player where it's kind of incredible that the Pirates might have grabbed like 2 generational prospects in the last few years and probably still won't make the playoffs.
They might call them. They might be able to be like the Washington Nationals. Actually, they could be the Nationals or the Angels. It'll be funny to watch what they are. But we have some good Connor Griffin advanced data too from friend of the channel, Lance Brozdowski. He tweeted this about a week ago now, where he compared Connor Griffin's stats, advanced stats, to other minor league shortstops. xWOBA 357 versus 293, 90th percentile exit velocity 108 versus 102. Like it's obscene how much better. In zone whiff rate, Connor Griffin 17%. Minor league baseball player, all average 26%. He's so much more powerful and so much better bat to ball than every other minor league player that it's kind of foolish.
And that's why I put him a little bit higher, just because I think the ceiling is still like top of the league type player, like a top 20 guy in the league. And that just gave him a slight nod ahead of my number 8. Well, who'd you have at number 9? You put Connor Griffin, right?
That was my number 9, Connor Griffin.
Okay.
But again, if Connor Griffin, if he even just steps on the field on opening day this year, then I think he jumps up to like 6 for me, because he'll be 20 years old on opening day. There's only been, where is it right here? Only 100 players ever, age 20 or younger, have had 100 plate appearances in a season since we lowered them out in 1969. And if you bump that to 250 plate appearances, it's only 59 players ever. And only 32 of them were ever a better hitter than league average by WRC+. And only 12 of them had at least a 125 WRC+. So hey, Connor Griffin steps in the field this year. I think he can beat all of that, and then he jumps again to like a top 5 number 1 prospect ever.
Definitely. All right, so number 8, James, who'd you have?
Number 8, so Heyward was number 9. My number 8 was Byron Buxton.
Byron Buxton as well was my number 8, top prospect in 2014-15. Funny enough, feels like a very similar-ish build in the minor leagues to what we're talking about with Connor Griffin, which is like crazy power, crazy athleticism, playing center field if you want him there. Buxton was definitely more glove heavy, pushing him up to this, and athleticism. Griffin has that elite athleticism, but Buxton was a different animal. And truthfully, if Byron Buxton didn't get hurt, he would easily find his way towards the top of this list, but injuries were his biggest enemy.
Injuries, but also this was an era where we got very trait heavy in the prospect game, and Byron Buxton was like, wow, hits balls so hard, runs so fast, like catch so many balls in the outfield, where at the same time he always had these crazy swing and miss and chase rate, plate discipline concerns that seemed much more obvious in hindsight, and why he had those 290 OBP seasons, those 35% strikeout rate seasons. Funny enough that he put it together like in his early 30s, but looking back, you're like, there was some writing on the wall there for Byron Buxton.
Yeah, he's a freak, but again, limited by the injuries and just the type of player that he is. All right, we went through number 7. I had Connor Griffin. You had Jason Heyward, which
Jason Heyward was number 9. My number 7 was Gunnar Henderson. Let me check this math again.
Yeah,
14,
check your math, because
12, 11. Oh yeah, 8. My 8 was Jason Heyward. My 7 was Byron Buxton.
Okay, there we go. That's what we're missing.
Fixed
it. Okay, number 6, Gunnar Henderson.
Yes. Gunnar Henderson.
Same spot for me as well. Top prospect in number 2023, or at number 2023, in year 2023. My goodness, that was horrible. We just need to see more. Gunnar is obviously one of the top players in the game. This last year was a bit of a lost season because of the Orioles being terrible, and Gunnar missing all that time to start the season. Took him a while to get going. We know how valuable spring training is to these guys. You see it. If you miss spring training, guys just don't have as good of a year as they normally would. And that happened with Gunnar, but the prior 2 years, he was one of the best players in baseball, and I still think he's, a top 15 player in baseball at the absolute worst?
Dude, the thing that's crazy is that 2023, which everyone was like, that was Gunnar Henderson's breakout season. he had almost the exact same WRC plus and WAR as he did this past season.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
it's just
incredible still.
he just set such a high bar in that 2024 season where, like, this is a bona fide top 10 player in all of baseball. He still is. He's like, I like to call him a hipster superstar because
Yeah.
he has all the traits. He does all the under the hood things so well, but he's not like an obvious superstar yet in terms of accolades and performance. He also did a thing this year that I think happened to a guy like Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado the year before with the Cardinals, where if your team starts to struggle and you're perceived like one of the best players on it, you try to do more, almost too much sometimes, to get your team out of the hole. It felt like Gunnar kind of put the Orioles' struggles on his shoulders this past season.
And I think it affected his play, and I think it affected the team. But Gunnar, we're getting into a tier now where everybody is an elite
Sick as
baseball
fuck.
player. Everybody's sick. These are all like mega home runs in terms of process for figuring out who the top prospect is. So I'm interested to see who we have at number 5, James. Get us started there.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Same spot for me. I'm afraid we're
Yeah.
going to be going chalk the rest of the way. Vladdy's so good.
Vladdy's so good. Vladdy, you saw the true like superstardom that he has this year in the playoffs and World Series when he kind of showed everyone how amazing he is as a hitter. Sometimes he doesn't get that credit because he kind of had that one ridiculous peak season in 2021. Didn't even get the MVP to show for it because of Shohei Ohtani, but has never really been able to chase that like 50 homer, 310 batting average high while still being just awesome all the way around every single season.
Yeah, since that season, you're looking at a guy who's averaging 31 home runs a year, 100 RBIs, an OPS at 880. Like that's unbelievable, and he's going to be 27 next year. He's very much still in his prime. I do love that he had his little coming out as a superstar there in the World Series because there weren't enough people that truly respected Vladdy. I remember even hearing going into the season last year, the conversation like, is Vladdy the best first baseman in baseball? Yes. It was obvious he was the best first baseman in baseball going into last year. You had to be blind not to. The 25-year-old who had a 940 OPS and mashes. What else do you want?
When a guy hits 320 with 30 homers, like that just doesn't really happen very often. It's hard to find that. And I remember, the Red Sox just made a trade. Not sure exactly when this video is coming out, but there were Red Sox fans who weren't even willing to put in Tristan Casas and trade proposals for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Now,
Brain dead.
again, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has asserted himself as a tier 1 superstar in the league, and rightfully so. He is that good. And
Which is insane to put him at number 5 then here.
but because these other guys are going to be so good, but like even debuting at 20 with all the hype he had, like some of the best minor league seasons we've like ever seen. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in 2018 as a minor leaguer had the 381, 437, 636 triple slash at 19 years old. That's a 190 WRC plus in AA and AAA.
That's so ridiculous. I mean,
And he had same amount of walks and strikeouts. It's obscene how good of bat to ball power he had coming up.
it is safe to say he got all the good genes in the Guerrero family because he is by far the most talented of that family besides Vladdy Sr.
Number 4, I'm going to get crazy. I think our 3 and 4 are going to be swapped. I'm going to stand on a ledge for this one.
I know what you're going to do here.
Yeah, so
You're
my
going
number
Corey
4
Seager here.
I did Corey Seager.
Yep, I knew it, and I have Corey Seager 3. I have Bobby Witt 4. So let's
my Bobby Witt's 3.
Let's have our argument because I can see both sides, but let's see what you got here. Tell me why Bobby Witt goes ahead of Corey Seager.
You guys know if you've been watching this channel from the beginning that my take is that Bobby Witt Jr. is the most underrated player in baseball. And the big reason for that is because Bobby Witt Jr. right now is having such a historically great start to his career. And I don't think he's perceived in that way just because of how great Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani are. And they kind of overshadow him because they're playing the 2 biggest markets in the league. Shohei Ohtani's won back-to-back World Series. Those guys steal all the MVP awards from every other player in the league. Over the last 3 seasons, Bobby Witt has a higher WAR than Shohei Ohtani, only behind Aaron Judge. And that's Judge, Witt, Ohtani, Soto, Lindor. It's the top 5 players in wins above replacement.
Couple guys on the mix.
Even if you just look at shortstops in the history of baseball in their first 3 complete seasons, Bobby Witt Jr. has a better baseball reference WAR than Francisco Lindor. Francisco Lindor, I think, is very consensusly, and if he's not, he should be considered the best shortstop of this era, the most consistent, still in his the highest, most consistent peak. Then if you even go back to all-time baseball, I think the best 2 shortstops ever who've ever stepped on a field are Alex Rodriguez and Cal Ripken Jr. Bobby Witt has a higher OPS through his first 3 full seasons than fucking A-Rod and Cal Ripken Jr., while having slightly less WAR than each of them. He's literally on pace to be one of the best shortstops in the history of baseball. Absolutely right there based on what he's done for his first 3 full seasons as a big leaguer.
Totally agree. I don't disagree with anything that you said. I'm a huge Bobby Witt Jr. fan. The only reason I put him slightly, it was razor thin behind Corey Seager, is just Seager's got some of the accolades. Like you've got the World Series stuff, got the World Series MVP, and just the fact that we've seen 1,100 games of Corey Seager. We've seen a lot of games of Bobby Witt Jr. too. We know he's going to be special. It's just like right now at this exact moment, I give the slight edge to the guy who's done it a little bit longer, even though I think by the time that Bobby Witt Jr. is where Corey Seager is, I think Bobby Witt Jr. is going to pass him.
I think so. And I gave a little bit of the credit just a projection there because, again, I'm going to stand on my soapbox and say that Bobby Wood Jr. has a chance to be one of the greatest baseball players ever.
I am really interested, too, to see both sides. One, Bobby Wood Jr. being able to keep up both the elite bat and defense
Yeah.
every single year is crazy. Like, you almost never find anybody that does that. That's why he has the ability to be special. And then on Seager's side, not only just talking about the health, because he's hurt all the time, doesn't play 150 games almost ever, but he's become a great defensive shortstop over the last few years,
Yeah.
which is a really intriguing little wrinkle now into his game where he used to be a bat first guy only. Now he's a complete shortstop, and that's made him even better than he already was.
And the thing about Corey Seager, which again I could fully see you making him number 3. He
Yeah.
probably deserves to be number 3, but I just want a little get a little
It's your
texture, a
boy.
little variation in our list here. The fact that every time Seager's had the opportunity, he's risen to the occasion like he
So
has is
clutch.
crazy. He's one of 4 players ever to have 2 World Series MVPs: Sandy Koufax, Bob Gibson, Reggie Jackson, Corey
And
Seager.
he only played on one team that actually won the World Series.
True, exactly, which is funny.
Yeah.
And Corey Seager will be the first person to tell you that really only one of those world championships really mattered to him at the end of the day. But he is great, and he's also going to age so gracefully because of how good his swing decisions are, how easy the power still is. He also did that thing we talked about Gunnar Henderson last year, where as the Rangers struggled, he put so much of that in his shoulders that seemed like he was trying to swing for like a 5-run homer every time he was
Yeah.
at the plate. That kind of felt like his vibe last year. But when he's on the field, he's still one of the best players in baseball, and he's going to move so gracefully to third base at some point in his career, or just be the best hitting DH in the league. Like there's going to be so much value that Corey Seager brings forever.
Sneaky, not that old still. He's going to be like 32 next year. He's been playing forever.
He's just got old bones all that right now. You can't really hold them together.
Number 2, James, shall we say at the same time?
Yep.
Mike Trout.
Mike Trout.
Yep, Mike Trout.
Yeah.
Obviously, without the injuries, we would have been looking at what could have been the greatest player of all time. It's crazy the similarities we're getting now to his career with Ken Griffey, where as soon as he hit that ripe age of 30, all the injuries really started taking a toll. And Mike Trout did play 130 games last year. That's the first time
Yeah.
since 2019. Something to talk about. But also at the same time, it was the worst season of Mike Trout's career. He had a 121 OPS plus, which sounds crazy.
That's
An
the worst.
OPS below 800 for the first time since he came up for 40 games as a rookie. He's definitely not the same version of Mike Trout that we once saw, but to discredit what he did prior to the last couple seasons, and I mean, he's got 87.5 baseball reference WAR so far in his career in 15 seasons, 1,600 games. He is one of the greatest players I've ever got to watch.
Oh, the 2012 to 2019 Mike Trout. If you guys weren't there for it, it's going to be the greatest baseball you ever see from someone who's not hitting and pitching at the same time. Like
Yeah.
it was special. Like he was reason to stay up until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning if you were in middle school or high school in the East Coast, and like make sure you could just watch a Mike Trout game because you didn't know what was going to happen. Also at the same time, like I'll always hold it against Mike Trout for signing that extension. Always will. Just it's hard not to. You knew for a fact that you were signing with an organization that would never help you ever build a legacy and be great in terms of playoff success.
I mean, yes, but also at the same time, because we'll just skip to number 1 here. They have 2 of the greatest baseball players of all time that were on the same team, same organization. One of them was free while he was there. Shohei Ohtani is obviously the number one prospect since 2010. You can make the argument he's the best number 1 prospect to ever exist on the history of the planet
Ever.
because this dude is not from planet Earth. He's from Mars or wherever you want to say, because the fact that he's been able to pitch and hit at the rate that he has, at the level that he has, for as long as he has literally never happened in the game of baseball. If you take away the pitching, you'd still be talking about him as one of the best hitters that you've ever seen play the game. Throw that on top of the fact that there was 99 on the mound, is a beast, one of the 10, 15, 20 best pitchers in the game when healthy. Like, what are we even talking about with this guy?
I think a few years ago he peaked as a top 5 pitcher in the league, truly. And it's funny that the one year when he hit this elite level that he's hitting now over the last few seasons, and he wasn't able to pitch, he was like, I'm just going to steal 59 bases because
Yes.
I'm kind of bored and I have to use this energy somehow, some way. I think the coolest thing about the Shohei Ohtani number 1 overall prospect ranking is that Baseball Pipeline was bold enough to make him the number 1 overall prospect, and that was 2018, right when he
Yep,
came over.
2018.
I think it's a cool thing to look back on again, to see the fact that they were like, yeah, this guy should be the number 1 overall prospect. Like we're seeing a freaky upside, a freaky ceiling with Shohei Ohtani that we've never seen before. And that kind of is how these prospect rankings should go. I love the fact that I think it happens more so now. It kind of depends on which publication you're looking at. Of course, again, this was MLB Pipeline. That you got to be looking at ceiling. You got to look at who's going to be a superstar, who's going to be a freak, which again is why The Andrew Benintendi one will never make sense to me, but it's just that's Shohei Ohtani is everything. You guys won 2 World Series in a row. The Dodgers have been spending boatloads of money for a decade straight. They couldn't really ever get over the hump until this guy showed up, and now they can't not win World Series.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of development too in his game. Like you said,
Tons.
putting him at number 1, like he still had crazy exit velos. He won 14 in his rookie year. Like you knew he was going to be a good hitter or had the ceiling, like you mentioned, to be good. But now, I mean, every single year basically since 2018, that exit velo has risen and risen and risen. And this year, he hit the hardest ball of his career at 120 miles an hour. That is unfathomably fast. That's like what freaks of nature do, like O'Neal Cruz and Giancarlo Stanton. And then you remember that this guy runs like the wind. And then you remember that this guy also pitches and that he hits 300 every year. And he has an OPS above 1,000 for what, the like 6th straight season. He's so ridiculously good. I'm going to be really interested to see like 10, 15 years from now how people look back on Shohei Ohtani, because if you like, we always have the conversation with like Babe Ruth, like he played against plumbers. I'm like, I think Shohei Ohtani's gonna outlive all the crazy context and like narratives that we're gonna have all that way down the line.
I also think it's going to be fun now that Shohei Ohtani is 30 years old, which feels crazy to say, how he fights what is a normal aging curve for other players.
For humans.
Because now, like, there should be some relative regression in his physical ability at some point over the next few years.
There was, James. He had a 1036 OPS in 2024. True. This year, 1014.
Yeah, that's a huge step back. And the fact that he jumped back on the mound this year, he just had new pitches. Like he was throwing more sliders, more curveballs. Yeah, the sinker came back. Like it's like how
pumping 100.
Yeah, the splitter was still there. Like it's cool to watch. I'll even just pontificate in his development as a pitcher. Like when he came out for that 2022 season, like made the sweeper the most used part of his repertoire, like brought a sinker into his repertoire meaningfully for the first time he ever had in his career. You're just like, this guy is literally unfathomably good. Like that year when he was truly a top 5 pitcher in the league when he was still with the Angels. Like it's obscene. Next year, the fact that we're going to see him be able to do both things fully from opening day with the Dodgers behind them, like I can't wait to just watch him play baseball next season.
Yeah, he does everything at an elite level. And just again, some people out there, whiff rate. Shohei Ohtani has one of the highest whiff rates in baseball. But when he hits the baseball, he absolutely crushes it. So who cares?
Yeah, I think even just like the zone swing is fine. Like the plate discipline doesn't even have to be that good for Shohei Ohtani because like who the fuck cares?
The ball.
Hits the ball harder than anybody in the entire league. His zone contact is so much worse than league average, but it does not matter because he hits the piss out of it every time.
That's why you get 3 strikes. Take 3 swings.
It's funny looking at advanced stats for Shohei because that's someone you don't really ever do that with. You know
don't need to. Yeah.
Like you have to look at these things for other players, fringy players, try to make arguments for guys. I've never actually like poured over the numbers for like Shohei Ohtani. No, you just analytically.
You look at him, and you go, good. One of the best guys I've ever seen play.
All right, we'll leave it at this. Do you think that there'll ever be not another prospect or player like Shohei Ohtani, but do you think there'll be another player in our lifetimes that gets the same kind of two-way opportunity that Shohei Ohtani gets?
Opportunity-wise, I'll say yes, because I think it would be foolish to think that we can't have some sort of advancement in the game 20 years from now. We'll be in our 50s. Like I think in our 50s, we could see another player get the opportunity. That being said, I don't think that there will ever be a player in our lifetime that has come even close to the peak of what Shohei Ohtani is doing, which is being one of the most dominant pitchers and hitters at the exact same time.
Yeah, again, can't wait to watch him play baseball this season.
Yeah, can't wait. All right, guys, let us know in the comment section what you think about these rankings. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the content and get involved in that giveaway when we hit 10K subscribers. We appreciate you. Follow James on social media at
James Shiano.
I'm Draftneck Mark with a C. We'll catch you guys. Hopefully you had a happy Thanksgiving or have a happy Thanksgiving. We don't know when this is coming out, but enjoy your holidays. Peace out.